Hello everyone, happy Friday. Let's just get everything all sorted so I can see your comments, etc. I am going to assume that many of you are just, if you're in the Lower Mainland, at least you're outside enjoying a lovely, nice Friday evening. But perhaps if you are elsewhere, you are joining me. So I will set this up so I can see your comments if you are. All right. Okay, so what we are going to do tonight is we are going to make a card with the new Sweet as a Peach bundle. And the card that we are making, I posted on my page, I don't know, last week maybe? So it actually came from Stampin Up. So I don't know if you remember, it was this beautiful black card. So I've actually done a lot of the prep work already because I'm gonna make several of these, but I thought since I was gonna put it together, we might as well put it together. Okay, so I'm gonna walk you through it. We're gonna start at the beginning, of course. So in case you have been wondering if you've seen this paper. So I know I was wondering, I was seeing lots of black and white paper. Hello, Kathy. In people's card designs. And I was like, where is that paper from? And I'm going to show you. So if you look at the back of this paper, it's fun. So fun. So this paper is from this enormous pack that you can see is very bright. But the back side is all black and white. So the front, party in the front, and business in the back. I know it's the other way for a mullet. So this is the Pattern Party Designer Series paper. Crushed Curry, Flirty Flamingo, Granny Apple Green, Misty Moonlight, Pale Papaya, Petal Pink, Pool Party, Poppy Parade, Whisper White. And you are saying to yourself, where is this paper? I haven't seen this paper. This looks fabulous. I want this paper. Yes, you do want this paper. There is a little bit of a catch. It's not crazy, but there is a catch. This paper is currently a host reward. So I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with how Stampin' Up works, but if you were to get an order, whether it's yourself or whether it is a group of people or you host a party, and you spend over $200, you get 10% reward in sales. This paper is one of those host rewards. So it's valued at $40, but if you were to spend $240 or have a group of people spend $240, you could then get it for free with your host rewards at $24. So it has 48 sheets in it. It is certainly doable that if you got together with like another person, you each spent $120, then you could split this pack and you'd each get 24 sheets. Which would mean you'd get 2 sheets of each, or certainly you could get together with 4 people and then you'd each get a sheet of each. So if that is something that is of interest to you and you are one of my customers and you are local, because I can't ship 12 by 12 paper, then certainly put a comment. And if I can get enough people together, 2 or 4 people who are willing to place that kind of an order, then we can work that out so that you could share that paper. So this is the paper that Stampin' Up used. It's the black with the white polka dots, okay? And they had it cut so it filled the entire card front, which it appears is what I did as well. All right, I thought I left a border. So it's the entire card front, which means you could put it on a white card and then you wouldn't have to line the inside of the black, but I like the idea of black on black. So I have cut this to be 5.5 by 4 1/4, and I have cut a piece of black at 8.5 by 4 1/4 and 5.5, pardon me, and scored it at 4 1/4. So there's our standard card base. There is the DSP. Okay. Now the other piece that they had in their card, in case you remember the card I'm talking about, was this rectangle with the scalloped edges, the stitching, and the dots. And I figured out which die it was, and I already cut it. I have the old brush to take your die pieces out. There is an attachment that goes on your take a pick tool. I don't have that one because I have the old brush, but for anyone who doesn't have the old brush and you have the take a pick tool, there's a little attachment that has the same kind of thing. So it just helps to get all these little bits out of your die cuts. The other thing you can use is a toothpick, or you can use the take a pick tool. So I usually do a combination of them both, depending. So I tried the brush first because of course it's quick. And then I just run you can see how I just run it along, and then it will pop out any extras that did not come out. And it's such a satisfying noise. Don't you find that noise satisfying? Very satisfying. It's also satisfying to watch them all pop out. So yes, kind of like bubble wrap, or at least for me it is. So we have those all out. Okay, we're gonna move that off to the side. Now, in the sample that Stampin' Up! Did, because this piece is so big, they have it sort of coming off the top, kind of like that. So we will cut it at the end when we decide where we're going to have it. All right, so this is basically the front of Stampin' Up's card. And then they have the leaves, which I have already stamped and cut. I haven't die cut them, but I had given myself a bunch of them, and now I don't know where I've placed that, so we'll just grab a new set. And I'd already stamped the flowers, but we're gonna stamp some more because I'm gonna show you something. And if you're wondering why I'm cutting around these and not using the die, it's because I want to be able to slide it through my mini cut and emboss. So I'm just kind of being slightly creative here. Okay, we need 2 sets of those. Hello, Carol. I'll figure out what I did with the other piece later. All right, so I stamped Granny Apple Green on Granny Apple Green. So of course, in our set, if you guys haven't got any of the new stamps yet and you haven't seen that they have got where the stamps are on the inside, it's like a dream. So I stamped this big leaf 2 times. And what I will quickly show you, even though I'm not going to ink it up, but it's what I had posted this little tip on this page on my Instagram and my Facebook. I think it was last Saturday, because it was last Saturday when I realized. So when you have a stamp like this and you know you're going to have to line it up with a die, especially if you know you're doing multiples, line up the die with the stamp before you do anything to make sure it's the right shape, because there's a bit of bend in these, right? So you can also see my other little tip here for my dies. Because you never know where the dies go back, I outline them in pen. Some people run this through the photocopier. Other people have all sorts of things. The photocopier I thought was quite clever. But I just take a pen so that I know where to put the dies back down. Okay, so put your stamp on your block and then take your die and lay it over top. And make sure that your stamp isn't twisted in such a manner that your die will not cut it out. And you'll know, if you're thinking that doesn't really make sense, you'll know the first time you try it. So this one actually looks good. So we're good. All right, hello Casey. Oh, I guess we need that, don't we? Ha ha. What we don't need is the stamp, but that's okay. So we are gonna die cut those out. And then I wanna show you another trick. So as far as I can tell in Stampin' Up's card, I'm not 100% sure, but I do believe they used fresh freesia. And I do believe they used polished pink. That's what I chose to use. What I wanna show you though is I did stamp this earlier, and I wanna show you my polished pink. Just in case this happens to anyone else. So this is a distinctive stamp set. And so what that means is that it will give you areas that aren't as crisp, and it's meant to look like that, right? So you can see it's meant to have like a darker bit and then a lighter bit. That's what it means by distinctive. The flowers are like that as well. But sometimes you will get an ink pad that is very juicy, and as a result, it won't give you the definition you need with the distinctive stamp. So I'm going to show you what I mean. I'm going to stamp. I'm going to stamp on this piece of paper here. Okay, so I'm not going to do anything to my stamp pad at the moment. I'm just going to ink it up. So I'm going to ink it up. I did want to do these stamped off though, so I am going to stamp off on a scrap, if I can find one. Okay, so you can even tell it's juicy because you can see how the ink is kind of bubbly. So to me that means there's too much ink in this ink pad. So we have a couple of options. So if I just wanted to do what I was saying, so I stamp it off and then I stamp. So that's not too bad. But what you can do, if you know your ink pad is pretty juicy, get something. I happen to have a bunch of these stir sticks left over from a function at work, and instead of throwing them away, I brought them home. Use your bone folder, use a spoon, whatever you want, and just kind of push the ink away. So figure out how big your stamp is, push the ink out of that corner for right now. Then ink up your stamp. You can see already less ink there. I'm going to stamp it off. You can already see, like, look at the difference. And then I am going to stamp here. So you can see now, we can see much better the distinctive aspects of this stamp set. So if you're ever finding that and you're kind of like, oh, I don't like this stamp set, is the stamp defective? Is it the stamp that is defective? It might just be that you have a really juicy ink pad. So I can actually, if I wanted to, I could just take a whole layer of ink off this pad. I've got the re-inker, so if I take off too much, I can just re-ink it. And then this way, there won't be as much ink on here. Okay, so that is my tip and trick. I just wanted to show you that. And we'll put my scrap paper away. Okay, we are going to use the mini cut and emboss. So I'll bring this out. So now you've seen we stamped the flowers. We already stamped the leaves. I'm going to use the mini, or I'm going to try. So we'll give it a try. And if I'm struggling, then we will go to the big one. The reason being is, of course, we don't have a magnetic plate for the mini. So without a magnetic plate, I have to make sure I've lined up the dies properly. I'm not too worried with the flowers because they're fairly big. And you'll see they can only kind of go on here one way. So you can trust your luck, or you can use some washi tape. I'm gonna try trusting my luck and we'll see how that goes. Yeah, that worked out pretty well. Okay, and we want 6 of them. So I'm gonna pick what I think are my next best 3, pardon me. Put these ones aside for later. Run these ones through. It is nice when the die is quite obvious. It's always a bit of a pain when you're like, I'm not exactly sure how this die lines up, which if you follow me, you know that I've done a lot of samples with the color and contour bundle. I'm in love with that bundle. It was always on my must-have list. And I'm really happy to say that even though they seem like a little bit trickier of a shape, the dies are quite easy to line up actually. So we've got 3 more, recycle those. Okay, and now we are going to flip our plates. You want to be flipping your plates around all the time when you're using your mini. And I think actually the new big cut and emboss, it's a similar situation with those plates. I don't have the big one because my embossing machine was still in good condition. So you can see how nicely you can stamp 2 sets of these nestled into each other. It's great. You can save yourself a lot of space on pieces of paper. So that's nice. I'm always looking for ways to use up little scraps and not end up with big scraps. All right. Once that's fed, all right, so then we have the freesia, fresh freesia. So we want to just keep flipping these around, backwards, upside down, front to back, top to bottom. You can see how they're bent, but that is how it works now because this machine is meant to cut with such nice precision. It does mean you do have to replace your plates more often than you would have with the Big Shot because they will get bent. And that is the nature of the beast. All right, perfect. So that has worked out well. All right, let's see how well we can line up the leaves or whether I need to move to my other machine. Okay, so like I said, Granny Apple Green on Granny Apple Green, and I love this pop of bright green on the black. So again, if you're just joining me, this is a card that Stampin' Up had on their page, and I am casing it 100%. I mean, as much as I can, because I'm not 100% sure what they used for some things. I'm taking an educated guess based on my knowledge of their colors and products. Oh, I forgot to tell you too where that die was from. I started to talk about that die and then I never actually said where it's from. It is from, that worked nicely, perfect. So as long as you firmly hold it down, you don't really need the magnetic plate. So this die here is the Ornate Borders, let me find it. Don't want to give you the wrong name. Ornate Layers. It's from this, the Ornate Layers dies. So the Ornate Borders retired, but this Ornate Layers did not. So that's where that's from. In case you see any of these kind of dies and you're kind of like, what is that one? And this is what it's from, okay? Okay, that is a good scrap we can still use, and we are going to cut out the other one, and then we will be done all the cutting and we can get together, put this thing together. We're gonna need a greeting as well, which I have not stamped, and we're just gonna have some fun putting it together. So this Sweet as a Peach bundle is fabulous. The Sweet is also fabulous. There's the beautiful DSP, there are the cute little jars, and I will show you all of that. Tonight I am just using the stamp set and the dies. If you watch my page, you know that I am participating in a stamp camp with some other demos using this Sweet. Unfortunately, registration has already closed for that. But we do try to host a stamp camp every new catalog. So stay tuned for the holiday mini or the July to December, but it's coming out in August because we will most likely do another stamp camp then. Okay, we are done with the mini cut and emboss. Let's get that out of our way. Let's get our workspace back to some semblance of normal. Let's put this die away so we don't lose it because that would be terrible. But you can see it, so I just want to show you the dies and the stamp set. So you have dies that match the peach, dies that match the flower, dies that match the leaf, dies that match the big peach. You've got 3 sets of these dies that match these tiny little flowers. And then you have this die that doesn't match a stamp set, but just gives you tiny little floral centers. You've got a whole bunch of extra little leaves, and you have a branch. And then this little guy, which fits all of these smaller font. And then this stamp here, you can stamp in the middle of your flowers. It looks really cute. All right. Okay. So let's get everything sorted out here and put it together. And get my adhesive sheet. All right, I've just opened a new snail. So, or not snail, seal. So I've got to advance it there. I'm not gonna lie to you, I was really sad when I was cutting this piece of paper because I was like, oh, but this side is so fun. But you know, I have 4 sheets of each. I have a whole year before this paper is going to retire, which means you have a whole year to earn it as a host reward if it's something you're interested in. So I am just going to use it. I'm not gonna save it. I'm not gonna worry about cutting a big piece of it. That's the whole point. Buy it, use it, love it, chop it, all those things. All right, because I folded that, we're not quite, but we're not unfolding it now, so we're going with it. Okay, that's okay. I will trim the edge of that after. Okay, so there we go. And then, like I said, Stampin' Up! Had it kind of like that. And then they had this kind of going like that. And then they had a whole bunch of flowers, and they had some twine, and they had happy birthday. So these are all fabulous things. So let's do that. I'm actually going to do thanks so much because I am going to use these cards for thank you cards. And of course, you know my trick. So I've learned a couple of tricks. I'm going to share another trick with you. So if you watch me, you know that my trick is to use the grid. And so I line up the words on my grid. That's how I know it's straight. I saw or heard another demo who lines it up, the clear ones at least, on the stamp case because they would never have printed this crooked. So she makes sure it's overlapping and then she knows it's straight. And I was like, well, that's fairly brilliant. So that's another trick for lining up your straight stamps. Okay, I haven't quite decided what color we're gonna do that yet. So we're gonna kind of play around with this first. And I am actually gonna cut it in advance so that we can play around with it off of the front of our card. And then we're gonna pop it up with dimensionals. So I'm going to make sure it's straight. And cut. Okay. So we don't need that. Now we can take this, move that to the side, bring out this guy, and then get crazy. All right, so we kind of want this like this. We're gonna put a flower where those two join. If you're wondering, well, how are we gonna hide that? And then I think we will put those down flat and then we will add dimensionals. So I'm gonna put adhesive on this. I'm gonna put it in quite a few spots. I believe those leaves were off the top, so I'm not gonna worry about them. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna kind of have that be like that. And then we're gonna put this one sort of coming down like this. So again, it's those little guys that we don't want any adhesive on because they are hanging off the edge. All right, so then we're gonna put this like this. All right, and then we're going to, you know, put flowers all over them. So we have 3 different flowers. So you have these little guys. And then you have these big guys. And you have this middle size. So you kind of want to just be choosy about where you're putting them. Or at least I would think you do. And they're sort of obvious, like you can see there's an obvious spot where there's supposed to be a flower. Actually, I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to do that. And we're going to do that. And yes, I'm talking to myself and I can see that you're missing half my screen. So sorry, moving that up now. Hopefully that's better. So maybe I won't even need all of these. Have to figure out what we like. I don't actually like that one. We need a pink one in there, don't we? Okay, I don't know who else does Facebook Lives on here, but sometimes I really feel like I'm talking to myself, which obviously I am, and it feels weird. Okay. We're just gonna start throwing them on. First though, we need a greeting. So I think we will do the greeting. I think the polished pink will be a little bit too much. So we'll do it on the freesia. And I have lots of scraps because I used this in my team swap. All right, and like I said, we're gonna do thanks so much. So let's ink that up. So pretty. The font in this set, really, really pretty. Okay. I haven't quite decided what we're gonna do with this yet, so I'm gonna cut it big and in a rectangle. We'll figure it out. Okay. So I'm just gonna kind of imagine, because that's the other thing. We kind of need to know where this is gonna go because we don't need as many flowers then, right? So I'm a big fan of this like cut on an angle. And then we're going to, I'm gonna leave that to wrap some twine. Okay. They used this, the linen thread. I was thinking about using the black twine. And we'll see what this looks like. So I like to wrap twine twice. Just gives it a little more oomph. A single wrap, depending on your card, can just make it get lost. Just loses itself. Okay, I did not leave myself much in the way of extra, which is fine. I don't really want a very big bow, but I might have been a little on the chintzy side. I'm actually trying to decide if I actually want a bow or if I just want the other side. These are all things that when you create on the fly, you haven't necessarily worked out. But if you guys are watching me, you know that that is sort of my deal. Even when I feel like I have my card planned out, I don't. And that's what makes it fun. Okay. So that's gonna be there. So we're gonna pop that bad boy up. So we've got our black dimensionals. Again, my apologies. I am not in your screen. Okay, there we go. All right, black dimensionals, which I don't get to use very often. So I'm always excited when I remember that A, I have them, and B, I should use them. Okay, so I put 2 black dimensionals on the back of there. We're gonna put that right there. Okay. Now we could actually put dimensionals on this too, but we're gonna put dimensionals on this and all the flowers, so I'm not going to. So now I'm actually going to adhere this to my card front. Okay, and then we can know where we need to place it so that our greeting is still on the card. And now I can see my greeting is crooked, so I need to fix that because that will drive me crazy. Okay. All right, there we go. So now we are going to do dimensionals on all the flowers. I'm actually going to use black dimensionals on them as well. Even though they are white, it's on a black background, so it will just make the flowers. So now that we've got the greeting, I'm gonna figure this out a bit. Now we can have a better idea of which colored flowers we want where. Kind of do a couple there. Now I wish I could actually see. Why do I keep moving that out of the screen for you guys? I'm not, obviously I don't have my camera in a very good spot tonight. My apologies. Oh my gosh. But I can't really fix it now, so I'll just keep, you gotta keep telling me I'm not in the right spot. Okay, I'm not really digging what I got going on here. So I'm just gonna quickly actually open the catalog and I'm gonna take a look at one of their samples. And sometimes I do this, not because I'm kind of like, oh, how is that really supposed to fit on that branch? and I'm just trying to figure it out. So they have like, of course it's upside down. I'm one of those people who has to turn the map. So what they have is they have like a big one here, and they have a small one here, and then they have a medium guy out there. Okay. Sometimes I just need to see that, to see what somebody else has got going on. Okay, so they have a big one here, and then they have small, and they had medium. And then I feel like we need to put a couple kind of, yep, get in the map. That's me. I have to be in the map. I have to be, there we go. Now I am happy with that. Got to be in the map. I am totally, well, who is that? Joey? Was it Joey? I think it was Joey, right? Who like literally had to like put the map down and stand on it. That is me. 100%. Okay. Whew. We got it, people. We got it. Okay, now I'm happy. So now I might not pop every flower. So I think I'm gonna pop this guy. And I'm gonna pop this one. Speaking of Friends, are you guys excited? There's gonna be that Friends reunion. I feel like I probably don't get that channel. So even if I was excited, it won't matter because I won't be able to watch it. Is that right? Is it on like some crazy US like HBO or Apple or something? I'm just gonna kind of prop that one a little bit because I don't want it totally popped up, but I kind of want it not super flat either. Does that make sense? Funny. That's what I'm gonna do with this one too. This guy I want flat though. Okay, so this one's gonna be flat, and then this one is gonna be like edged up on this other flower. And then we will pop this up. HBO, yeah, see, I don't get HBO. Oh well, oh well. They should do it so it's like one of those things, you know, like when you can like, what's it, pay-per-view? Like you can do with like the MMA and different things like that. Pay-per-view, the Friends reunion. I bet you lots of people would do it. They'd probably make a lot of money. Okay, now that I am seeing this, I am actually going to pop that up. So see, this is okay. This is our creative process. You see things, you're kind of like, yeah, I think I want it like that. And then you realize that you don't. And you fix it. Okay, there we go. So, of course we're not finished. On the Stampin' Up card, I believe they use these new beautiful in color gems. You could go crazy with these, and I have used a couple, but there's only so many. So it kind of makes me a bit like, oh, your whole pack could be gone of one color on a card. So we are going to do a few things because I think you could also get away with the champagne rhinestones, or you could just use regular rhinestones. Obviously these are gonna look amazing, so we're gonna use them, but I feel like you could go through a lot of packs of these rhinestones, or what do they call them? Basic jewels. No, what do they call them? In color jewels. because they're gorgeous, but you only get like, it's like we need a pack for every color. That's what we actually need. That would be great. But, okay. I'm gonna use them. I'm gonna bling this bad boy out. And then when I make other versions of it, I'm not going to be able to because I will run out of gems. But that's okay. That's okay. We're going to do it for this one because you guys are watching. Oh my God, and look at how gorgeous it is. See, now that I've done it, how am I not going to bling out all the others? Okay, I'm going to hold this up for you guys. I'm going to take away all the mess. I'm going to take away the distracting background. And I'm going to, there we go. I'm going to give you our finished product. So, like I said, this is Case from Stampin' Up. Here it is. It's just a different way of looking at this peach set. There's not a peach in sight. It's those beautiful little flowers, fresh freesia, polished pink, the beautiful new in color jewels. We've done the fresh freesia card stock and the ink. I've done some black baker's twine, which is in this new pack of the baker's twine essentials. This is that beautiful pattern party DSP that you can earn as a host reward. And this is that ornate layers dies. Where is this card in this catalog? Carol, it is not in the catalog. Stampin' Up! Had it on all of their social media. They posted it on their Facebook page and also their Instagram feed, showing a couple of different cards from one of their concept artists using this pretty as a peach. I will, if I can, I'll tag the post in this video, but I'm not sure if I can. But if you go to Stampin' Up's social media, you will come across it. It's, yeah, not in the catalog. Granny Apple Green. Okay, so thank you for joining me. We've gone over a little bit over half an hour. My apologies. I try to keep it short and sweet. I have put the host code in this post, so if you are not a demonstrator already, if you are a customer of mine or you do not have a demonstrator and you live in Canada and you would like to order any of these products in the month of May, then you want to use my host code to be entered into my monthly draw. All right, have a lovely evening. And I hope to get on again. It's a long weekend, so there's the potential that I will be able to post some more cards. All right, thanks guys. Have a great night.